Have you ever looked at a flamingo and just thought, wow, that's weird? These bright, pink, long-necked birds are famous for a lot of things, but maybe the most baffling is their signature pose, standing on one leg. It looks uncomfortable, unstable, and, frankly, a bit show-offy. Why on earth do they do it? Is it for balance? Is it to keep one leg warm? Or is it just a flamingo fashion statement? For years, scientists were just as puzzled as we were, and a bunch of theories were thrown around. But recently, we've gotten much closer to the real answer, and it's way more fascinating than you might think. So today, let us dive deep into the world of these fabulous feathered friends and finally solve the mystery of the one-legged stand. Get ready, because the answer involves some seriously cool biology and physics. Let's start by debunking some of the older ideas. One popular theory was that flamingos do it to reduce muscle fatigue. The logic was that by alternating legs, they could give one leg a rest while the other does the work. It makes sense, right? If you stand for a long time, you probably shift your weight from one foot to another. But when scientists actually studied flamingos, they found this wasn't the full picture. Flamingos can stand on one leg for incredibly long periods, even while sleeping, without showing any signs of needing to switch. If it was just about fatigue, you'd expect them to swap legs much more often. So, while resting muscles might be a small part of it, it's not the main reason. Another common explanation was thermoregulation. That's a fancy word for managing body temperature. The idea here is that by tucking one leg up into their warm, feathery body, they reduce the amount of heat lost to the cooler air or water. Birds lose a lot of heat through their long bare legs and feet. So, pulling one leg up would be like us putting one hand in our pocket on a cold date, helps conserve body warmth. This theory is actually quite plausible and likely plays a role, especially for flamingos living in cooler climates or standing in cold water. But again, it doesn't explain everything. Flamingos in hot climates, standing on warm land, also stand on one leg. If it were only about staying warm, you'd expect them to stop doing it when the weather is scorching. So there must be something else going on. This brings us to the breakthrough discovery, which is all about saving energy. A few years ago, a team of researchers decided to look at the anatomy of flamingos in a whole new way. They studied both live flamingos and deceased specimens to understand the mechanics behind this bizarre posture. What they found was absolutely brilliant. It turns out that a flamingo-esque body is uniquely designed to stand on one leg with almost zero muscle effort. It's a passive, gravity-powered mechanism. Think of it like a stack of bones locking into place. When a flamingo shifts its weight over to one leg, its joints settle into a stable, locked position. Their center of gravity is perfectly aligned over that single leg, so they don't need to use their muscles to stay upright. Imagine a camera on a tripod. The tripod's legs lock into place to provide a stable base without needing any power. Flamingos have a built-in biological tripod system. Their hip and knee joints have a unique structure that creates this stay apparatus. It's a bit like how a horse can sleep standing up. They have a similar system in their legs that allows them to lock their joints and relax their muscles. For flamingos, standing on one leg is actually their most stable, restful posture. It requires less energy than standing on two legs. That's right, standing on two legs actually forces them to use more muscle power to maintain balance and stay upright. It's completely counterintuitive to us humans, for whom standing on one leg is a wobbly, muscle-burning exercise. To test this, the researchers even used flamingo cadavers. They found that they could stand a deceased flamingo up on one leg, and it would hold the pose perfectly without any external support. But if they tried to stand it on two legs, it would immediately topple over. This was the smoking gun. It proved that the one-legged stance is a default, structurally stable position that requires no active muscle contraction. It's the flamingo's natural resting pose. They're not actively balancing. Their skeleton is doing all the work for them. This means that when a flamingo is sleeping on one leg, it is truly at rest, conserving as much energy as possible. And in the wild, conserving energy is a huge deal. Their diet, which consists mostly of tiny brine shrimp and algae, isn't exactly high-calorie. In biology, traits often evolve for one primary reason, but then prove useful in other ways too. It's a win-win situation that makes this posture an incredibly effective strategy for survival in a variety of environments. We have to constantly make tiny muscle adjustments in our legs and core to keep from falling over. A flamingo's anatomy is different. Their long, bent leg isn't straight down like ours. The knee you see bending backward is actually their ankle. but if you could somehow lock the broomstick in a perfectly vertical position, it would stay there. That's essentially what a flamingo's skeleton does. When you see a flamingo standing on one leg, you're not just seeing a quirky habit. It's more restful for them than standing on two legs. This incredible adaptation is likely supplemented by the secondary benefit of thermoregulation, as it also helps them conserve body heat. So, the mystery is largely solved. It's a beautiful combination of anatomy, physics, and evolutionary pressure that results in one of the most iconic and clever poses in the entire animal kingdom. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of flamingos. I hope you found this as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the wonders of the animal world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.